Hello, friends from the interweb. Thidumgamer here with another game review. This time I want to go ahead and review the card game Smash Up from Paul Peterson. It is the shuffle building game of total awesomeness by AEG. Now, the game itself, as I said, is a card game. They don't recommend it for anybody under the age of 3 because there are small pieces that do come with the game with the tokens. It is a game for 2 to 4 players. Each game lasts about 45 minutes, and I have found that to be quite accurate. It does say ages 12 and up, and if you've watched my show before, you know my thoughts on the age range. This one does not really have anything violent or scary, so if your child understands the game and can play it well, they may be able to do so at much younger age than 12. Now, the game itself is not only is it a card game, but it is a game that has expansions. We actually have 2 of them. The core game itself comes with 8 decks and base cards. The 2 expansions we got comes with 4 decks, each expansion, some base cards, and these tall cards. Now, in one of the expansions, the tall cards are actually an extra card that does special things. Instead of your regular mission play, you may play this card on a base where you have at least 2 minions, blah, blah, blah. For the other one, it's just kind of a deck marker if you have them in a separate box. Now, the point of the game is to earn points. To begin with, what you will do is go ahead and choose 2 decks that you're going to combine. Each deck has a different theme, such as we have robots, we have zombies, we have the shamrock ones. I forget what they're called. They're not fairies, because fairies is there. Pirates, on and on. And each expansion kind of has a overall theme of its own. This was the Cutie Pie expansion here, where you had Spoop on My Little Ponies, you had princesses, let me turn the camera here a little bit, kittens and fairies. The other one that had the tall cards, we have a Spoop on Pokemon, Spoop on Power Rangers, Spoop on anime, and you might have noticed that from the tall card I brought out, the Walking Castle, kind of like Howl's. And then finally you have the Tokyo Monsters, Spoop on Godzilla and such. So, as I said, each player will go ahead and take 2 themed decks, combine them together. I will say, after playing this multiple times, we randomly choose the decks, because there are certain combinations that are just game-breaking. And when you figure out those combinations, everybody's going for that deck. So it's much more fair to randomly choose the decks. Once you choose the 2 decks, you'll go ahead and shuffle them together, draw out 5 cards. For every player that is playing, you will play a base card, and then 1 additional base card. So 3 people playing, there will be 4 base cards out there. And each player will take turns playing cards. During their turn, they can play an action card or a minion card. And we'll just look here. Action cards. Play on a minion, destroy any number of actions on it. This minion has -4 power. Minions have a minimum of power of 0. Pretty straightforward. Some actions stick around. Some actions have to attach to a base card or to a minion. But you just do what it says on the action. Next, we have the minion cards. Ongoing. Gains +1 power for each War Raptor on this base, including this one. The power itself is the number in the top left corner. Name of the card is, of course, right there. And so for every War Raptor you have out on that base, you get +1 power. So it builds up rather quickly if you have quite a few War Raptors. Now, each deck only has 20 cards in it, so obviously you're not going to have 20 War Raptors. but you do have, I think, 3, so it can build up quickly. And the purpose is you're putting minions and actions onto base cards to where the total power on that card is equal to or greater than the number in the top left corner of the base card. Once you've reached that, the base card has been beaten, and it goes through and tells you how many points each player gets that has minions on the card. The first place player for this one would get 4 points, second place would get 3 points, third place would get 2, and if there was a fourth player on there, they wouldn't get anything. Also has, each base card may have different things that it does as well. The runner-up may move one of his or her minions to a base that replaces this base. After this base scores, place each player's highest power minion here on the bottom of its owner's deck. Blah, blah, blah. It is fun. You do have to read through the cards to figure out what strategy you're wanting to do. But again, the purpose is to win these bases and get points. Now, I do like some extra things on this game. Number one, it has one of the fun choose your starting player. No rolling the dice, rock, paper, scissors, anything like that. It says whoever got up earliest this morning goes first, and then play continues clockwise. It's always fun to see that, but of course you can choose your first player however you want. Youngest player, oldest player, player with the most, however you want to do it is fine. But I do like seeing some of those fun ways to choose your starting player. Now, after you have played a card, you get to play 1 action card and 1 minion card each turn, unless the card tells you to play something else. You get a check for scoring. You check to see if playing any of those cards cause you to score on the base. And then after that's all said and done, you go ahead and draw 2 cards. Now, if you have more than 10 cards, if you have 10 cards or more in your hand, you have to discard down to 10 cards, so you don't have a hand of half your deck. And then finally, if there's anything on the cards that say it happens at the end of the turn, after you've drawn your cards and everything else, you'll go through and take that action as well. Now, how to win? Well, that's kind of simple. As I said, you're scoring points throughout the game. There's even cards that'll give you points as you go along, so you're not scoring bases. Or you're trying to score bases. Obviously, 4 points is a lot better than 1. But you're earning points throughout the game, mainly through the bases. And let's see here. I'm trying to remember. Trying to remember how many points. Let me look through here real quick. Oh, 15 points. 15 points is the winning number, and that's pretty good for a game. If you find that points are being scored quickly with the people you're playing with, you might want to up that to 20. If you find the games are dragging on, you might want to drop that down as well. Of course, it's recommended and in the book, but always recommend adjusting a game to where it's not getting done too quickly to where nobody enjoys it, or dragging on forever to where nobody enjoys it. Now, I had mentioned the tokens, and as I said, it did come with tokens. Keep them in the nice Ziploc baggie. 1 point, 5 points. I think there's even 3 points in here somewhere. May just be 1 and 5. Each set we got came with some tokens, and as you can see, we have some flower and heart ones here. Those came with the pretty expansion, pretty princess expansion, whatever you want to call. I forget the name of it. That's what my daughter called it when we got it. But great way to keep track of score. You might also want to keep some dice or something else on hand to keep track of certain other things that go on throughout the game. counters and such, so you're not confusing them with your point tokens. Now, the game itself is fun. As I mentioned, we have played through quite a few different hands of this. My kids enjoy it. My wife enjoys it. It's another one of those card games where you have to read what the card says to know what you're doing, and really want to make sure you're reading what the card says so you don't accidentally discard a card you shouldn't, or accidentally not claim the points you should have because you won a base. It is a game that you do have to make sure you're reading what's going on there. Now, replayability, as I said, the way we choose our decks is we randomly choose 2 of the themed decks just by drawing off one card and from each one, shuffling them all up and then dealing out 2 to each person. And that has worked out really well. Replayability is very replayable. Of course, you're going to come across a few times where you get the same 2 decks. But it is fun. Difficulty, once you get used to the gameplay, it's not difficult. The most difficult thing is just like Flux, making sure you're reading the cards. And if you are playing with younger players, you want to help them out with that. When they play a card, make sure you read it through and take all the actions on the cards. And when you're doing that, you want to make sure you're going through top to bottom, unless it says take this action at the end of the turn, or when the card is, something that doesn't affect right then and there, you won't deal with that. As for time period, as I said, about 45 minutes is about average. I've had games run a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, but that tends to be how long it takes to score enough points, unless you happen to get really lucky with a big OP deck. When I first played just for fun, I went ahead and grabbed the aliens and the zombies. If you happen to get this combination, the way the decks go, the theme of the cards and what they do tends to eradicate other decks rather quickly. May not so much if we get some more expansions, and there are a lot of them out there. But with what the cards we have right now, those 2 you really don't want to play together. In fact, if those 2 pop up together, we usually sit there and have somebody switch out one of their cards. But play how you want. It's not that big of a deal. I've just noticed that through our gameplay. As always, I will go ahead and put a link in the description below to AEG Games. This is a very fun game. We've enjoyed it a lot. Definitely recommend checking it out. Every time I've been to our local game store, I've seen at least one expansion, if not multiple, and they usually have the base game on hand. We've had it for a couple different years, so I'm not sure if they have updated the base game. I heard they might have, but either way, it's fun. If you get a chance to check it out, definitely recommend that. Well, as always, I hope you do have a great week. I hope to see you next time. I know my videos have been kind of haphazard. I am still trying for the 1 a week. I might have to drop it down to 1 every 2 weeks. But definitely keep an eye out. Hit the subscribe and like button, or the subscribe and bell notification to be notified when I do post a new video. If you like the content, go ahead and hit that like button, and definitely share it with a friend. If you find that the content itself is something a friend of yours would like, definitely have them check it out. The more views, the better it helps my channel. So the more people that view and subscribe definitely would help out my channel. If you do have any suggestions for games that you would like to see, I will do my best. If I have the game, definitely we'll go ahead and review that. If I don't have the game, I will do my best to get a hold of that. If you have suggestions for types of videos you want to see, do you want to see me just explaining the rules of the game? Do you want to see me doing a mock gameplay? Obviously, whenever I get a new game, I'm going to do an unboxing. And if it's a game I'm familiar with, I'll kind of give an overview of the game during the unboxing or in the very next video. But definitely leave a comment below kinds of games you like, what kind of content you'd like to see, any game suggestions, and I will do my best to get that going for you. But again, enjoy your week. I do hope to see you next time. And until then, to steal from another YouTuber, be good people.